I loved her since school and dreamed of a family, but she cheated on me with an older man. This shocking story is about my high school sweetheart, the girl I thought I'd marry and spend my life with, and how it all fell apart. We were together for nearly 7 years, and I truly believed we'd be together forever. But then she betrayed me with an older coworker and left me. This happened years ago, but writing it out still feels important, like I'm finally getting it off my chest. Even after 10 years, I can't escape the memories or the way it still hurts sometimes. Back then I was 22, and she was 21. Now I'm 32. We started dating in high school. I remember the exact day, October 8th, 2008, and we broke up on August 9th, 2015. It was my first serious relationship, my first real love. I loved her with all my heart. Honestly, I was sure we'd overcome anything. I thought we'd support each other through college, help each other grow up, and never let go. I believed that having our first love was like a guarantee that we'd stay together forever. I mean, how could we not? That's how I felt then. But sometime in the middle of those 7 years, things started to change. I heard rumors that she was seeing someone behind my back. At first, I was confused and in denial. When I finally confronted her, I found out it was true, but it wasn't what I expected. It turned out she was involved with another girl, an older woman who also worked somewhere. I was 20 at the time, and part of me initially thought, wow, that's kind of unexpected or even cool in a stupid, immature way. But the truth was, I was young and insecure. Deep down, I was jealous and hurt. I couldn't accept it. I struggled with what it meant about our relationship and about me. We managed to stay together after that, but it wasn't the same. I think around then she started feeling something like FOMO, fear of missing out. She was only 18 or 19 at the time, and maybe she started doubting if I was really the one for her. Looking back now, I could see it clearly. She was young and maybe curious about life, and I guess being with one person since we were basically teenagers started to feel limiting to her. Fast forward to 2012. She had just finished high school in 2011, a year after I did. By then we'd been dating for 4 years. On the outside, things looked okay. We still hung out together a lot, went on dates, and our intimacy was good. I never felt like the spark was fading. I was working a part-time job and finishing college, and she was working too. I remember feeling proud of us. We were both earning money, talking about moving in together, saving up to eventually buy a house. I thought we were setting up a solid future. Then out of nowhere, something started to shift. She began to pull away, and it happened really quickly, literally within a month before I found out about the real reason. She got a new job that was really good, better pay, better position, and I was happy for her. I praise her on it. We talked about how we'd save up more now that we were making decent money. But slowly, she started losing interest in the relationship. It was subtle at first. She didn't call as often. She got quiet on our weekly dates. She seemed tired all the time. It was like a snowball rolling downhill. A little change at first, then suddenly I couldn't ignore it. Of course, I started suspecting something. I knew better than to ignore it. I thought, did she meet someone at this new job? I didn't want to believe it, but I had this sinking feeling. And guess what? I was right. One Friday afternoon, I had a strong feeling I should come home early. I took a sudden vacation day from work because I just didn't feel like being there. We had plans for that evening, nothing fancy, just grabbing dinner and maybe seeing a movie. But for some reason, I decided to head home without even texting her about it. I told myself, she's busy at work. We'll talk when she gets home. I got in my car and drove home, completely unsuspecting of what was about to happen. When I pulled up to our little apartment, the one we rented together, I saw a car parked out front that I didn't recognize. That was the first red flag. She had a lot of friends, but this was some shiny new black Mercedes that I had never seen before. It looked expensive, out of place in our modest neighborhood. I wasn't alarmed yet, but my gut started to twist. I opened the front door, and immediately I heard her. Actually, I didn't hear her voice at first. I heard sounds, and they made my blood run cold. I can still feel that moment. My heart literally dropped to my stomach. I froze at the threshold of the living room, listening. There she was, moaning softly, and I realized she wasn't alone. All the happy memories of us together started flashing through my mind. Our first date at the mall, laughing at a cheesy movie, holding hands walking down the hallway in high school, late-night study sessions, silly fights, and makeup hugs. Every moment in those 7 years was passing before my eyes as I stood there frozen. I also thought, oh God, how am I going to explain this to my family and friends? Everyone liked her so much. The idea of telling them she was cheating with someone else was unbearable. I swallowed hard, fighting back the nausea and anger, and I slowly walked toward the bedroom. The door was slightly ajar, so I peeked in. Neither of them saw me at first. The bed was facing away from the door, legs out, so my view was mostly of the guy's back. He was maybe in his early 40s, average build, short messy brown hair. He was on top of her. She was lying on her stomach on the bed, wearing one of my old, oversized t-shirts, the same one she sometimes borrowed. She was moaning softly as he was moving behind her. I stood at the doorway, heart pounding, absolutely stunned. I took a deep breath and tried to act normal, even though inside I felt like I was breaking apart. And then I calmly said, almost too calmly, "Hey, am I interrupting you too?" My voice barely hid the disgust. They both jumped up like they'd been caught in a spotlight. She shut up first. She scrambled to pull on her shorts and shirt, face flushed and wide-eyed. She stuttered, "W, what are you doing here?" Her voice was panicked and angry. The guy turned around too, eyes wide. He was in his underwear, standing there completely red-faced. He looked more embarrassed than she did, actually. She yelled at me, "What the hell are you doing here?" The room was spinning for me. I just stared at them, paralyzed. At that moment, I could have left and just silently walked away. They wouldn't have known I was ever there. But instead I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "Am I bothering you guys?" Her reaction was almost immediate and brutal. She snapped back at me, eyes blazing. "It's none of your business," she shouted. The guy made no move to explain, just stood there awkwardly. I could feel tears of anger and humiliation welling in my eyes, but I wouldn't let them fall. Without another word, I turned and left the apartment. I tried to hold it together as I walked out to my car. I sat there in the driver's seat for a long moment, fists clenched. My whole body trembled with rage and hurt. Thoughts were racing. Did I really waste 6 years of my life on this? Was everything a lie? My heart felt shattered. A few minutes later, she came storming out of the apartment, hair a mess, breathing heavily, and started yelling at me. Her words will be etched in my mind forever. She said it coldly, like it was rehearsed. "You're so annoying. I hate being with you. You're horrible in bed, and honestly, I never even wanted to be with you." Wow, I froze. Those words hit me like a punch to the gut. It was like listening to some movie villain pick apart my soul, except this was coming from the girl I'd loved so much. She said them with real venom, as if she'd been holding all that back for years, just waiting for the right moment to unload. I didn't even cry right then. I was so shocked. Part of me was screaming on the inside, but outwardly, I just stood there listening. When she was done ranting, she spat on the ground and went back inside the apartment without another word. I just sat there in my car, not moving. I had this intense, dizzy feeling and kept thinking, is this really happening? Did she just say that to me? My confidence, my self-esteem, everything was shattered in that instant. After sitting there for a bit longer, I finally started the car and drove away aimlessly. Over the next few days, and let's be honest, months after, I was in shock. How could she say something like that? How could she be so cruel? I couldn't understand why she would say she never wanted to be with me, after all we'd been through. It felt like she stabbed me right in the heart and twisted it around. Later on, I found out all the details. The guy she was with, he was her boss at that new job, a guy named Robert. He was around 43, married with at least one kid. I won't lie, at first I was angry at him too. How could he do this to me? But then I realized I couldn't really blame him. She was gorgeous, about 5'9", bright green eyes, long brunette hair, and she took care of herself. She had the biggest smile and a super positive personality. Honestly, she had this confidence and spark that was magnetic. I still remember what attracted me to her in the first place. I fell in love with her at first sight at that high school club fair so many years ago. I still think she was the most beautiful girl I've ever dated. I suppose a part of me still loves her, in a way. It hurts to admit, but it's true. I didn't do anything crazy to get back at them. I mean, I was so hurt, but I kept telling myself not to make myself look foolish. Life has a way of working itself out. They did end up getting together seriously. He actually left his wife for her. A few years later, around 2017, I heard they had a baby together. To hear that made me physically sick. It was like hearing the final nail in the coffin of everything I thought our future was. It's been a decade since that awful day. Does it haunt me every minute? No, thankfully not. Time does heal, even if slowly. But it changed me. My confidence was crushed, and I think my approach to dating took a big hit. Every time I started to date again, a little voice in my head was always a bit worried. Is this person going to pull something like that? I became way more cautious and guarded. For a long time, I avoided serious relationships. I dated around a bit, but I always had trust issues. It's not fair to the people I dated, really. I'd bring all that baggage with me and probably seem too distant or cold. The thing is, her betrayal left such a scar that it took me a while to remember I deserved better and that not everyone would hurt me. I'll admit, sharing this story is a kind of therapeutic. I have a buddy named Dave who knows all of this. He listens and always tells me, "Man, you dodged a bullet." I appreciate him because he's got my back no matter what. He reminds me that I'm better off without someone who treated me that way. It helps to have someone say, "You do deserve a good life." Now I try to take it one day at a time. I'm slowly rebuilding trust and confidence. Sometimes I still think about that girl, the one I love so much. But I also remind myself that if someone could say those things to me, they never really deserved me in the first place. If that's the lesson I learned, then I suppose there's some good in it. Anyway, there it is. My story. 10 years later, it still stings sometimes, but it's a part of who I am. I share hoping someone else might understand they're not alone if something like this happens to them. You can survive it and eventually find someone who truly deserves you, because eventually I did.